How are we doing, guys? My name is Max Giger. This is my final project for EDU222. I'm going to talk about inclusion for special education students within the general education setting, something we touched on at the beginning of the semester, but something that's been on my heart, specifically the DQ with Dan Habib and some of the other assignments in that module. I want to start off with a statement just to get you guys thinking. All students benefit from the resources available in an inclusive classroom. I'll give it to you one more time. All students benefit from the resources available in an inclusive classroom. I'm going to give you guys a little taste of a rap to get us into this project. Ready? The issue of inclusion is protruded on my mind, so here are the 4 W's, how and why. The who is for the kids, the ones who've been doubted, ones without the fair shake, the ones who've been outed. The when is constant like a force in motion, difference makers needed to find a new quotient. The where is wall to wall, still most schools struggle. Ever since the time of Fred and Barney Rubble. What is the deal? Why can't all be included? People just scared of Gen Ed being intruded. But why worry when you're added gifted learners? It only improves your atmosphere and your homeroom. Including all learners seems so very simple. So why can't all schools just pop this pimple? How can we do it? Unite on all fronts. All learners in one spot, don't call it a stunt. So yeah, that's a little rap I planned for you guys. Obviously, we're talking about inclusion. I just wanted to quickly reference back before I start talking the start of the Dan Habib TED Talk. Most of you may not remember that. If you do, props to you. But Dan Habib starts a TED Talk by asking his audience how many people have felt nervous or scared talking to someone with a disability in their life at any point. Granted, we've all probably found ourselves at one point or another, whether we were younger or, whatever it may be, feeling uncomfortable. But when he asked that question, a majority of the audience raised their hand. And it really just broke my heart because it's one of those things where everyone is trying to learn, everyone is striving, everyone is living the same, everyone is striving for the same things. Everybody is. Another statistic that I saw from that video from the TED Talk with Dan that I can't stop thinking about is that 56% of students with disabilities are segregated, even though there's clear evidence backed up by research that suggests that this is not the most effective way of educating students with disabilities. It's blown my mind this whole semester that something that seems like such an easy concept to grasp is still not grasped by a majority of our education systems. Regarding individuals with disabilities and special education, when you're putting them in an inclusive setting, it secures opportunities to learn alongside their peers, to have a more normal school experience. All students are learning differently. Like, every student learns differently. It's not just the special education students and the general education students. All students have different ways of learning, of absorbing, of getting this knowledge in their brain. That's why inclusive settings, like with all sorts of students, are beneficial, because it allows students to absorb all their peers, to understand different types of people, how people work. It's just, you want as much variety in your classroom. That's what I believe. That's my heart. And like something that I love is, and like something I was reading in an article, was that when you have inclusive classrooms filled with diverse learners, it makes differences less different to all students, because students, like especially in the younger years, realize that different is not different. Different is unique, and different is you. And when we're putting all learners in inclusive classroom settings, it only creates good and formulates positive relationships, positive connections, positive learning experiences. It's just one of those things where, like, it blows my mind that we're still stuck on something like this in our society that seems so beneficial. For me, I believe that you should strive to create as much of a normal life as possible for someone with a disability, rather than treat them different or draw attention to the fact that they have a disability. An inclusive classroom setting is the ideal setting in public schools, private schools, whatever it may be. Inclusive classroom settings are the way. We do not need to segregate learners based on their disabilities or based on who they are, because it's proven it's not as effective as bringing everyone together and having people learn from one another. Thank you.